When Yaman speaks, the world listens. He is not just another television star or heartthrob adored by millions, he has become a symbol of passion, strength, and vulnerability all at once. And recently, his most shocking confession has left fans in awe, sparking endless debates across social media platforms and entertainment magazines around the world. In a candid moment, Yaman revealed something that nobody expected to hear from him, a truth about his heart that fans had suspected all along but never dared to believe fully. He admitted that some loves are simply unforgettable, that no matter how much time passes, there are feelings that remain etched into the soul forever. Of course, he didn't need to mention her name. Everyone knew instantly who he was referring to, Demet Özdemir. Their story began years ago on the set of Erkenci Kuş, where their on-screen chemistry was so electrifying that it quickly spilled into real life. Audiences were captivated not only by their characters' love story but by the undeniable spark between the two actors. They laughed together, cried together, and created moments that felt so authentic that millions of fans were convinced that what they were watching was not acting, it was real. Over time, rumors of a romance off-screen only grew stronger. Paparazzi photos, secret sightings, and subtle glances during interviews fueled the belief that Can and Demet shared something deeper than just friendship. And yet, both of them remained guarded, never fully confirming the truth, leaving fans in a perpetual state of guessing. Years passed, careers blossomed, and their lives seemed to drift apart. But despite everything, the bond between them never truly disappeared. It lingered in the memories of fans and in the whispers of every conversation about Turkish television's most iconic couple. So when Can recently confessed that his heart might still belong to someone from his past, the world erupted. Social media platforms went into overdrive. Hashtags like #CanYamanConfession, #DemetandCan4Ever, and #TrueLoveNeverDies began trending within hours. Fans flooded comment sections with emotional messages, some in tears, others begging for a reunion, and many simply stunned by the raw honesty of his words. It was as if time had stopped, and the entire world was transported back to those magical days when Can and Demet stood together under the spotlight, their eyes telling a story far deeper than any script could write. What makes this confession even more powerful is the fact that Can is known for being careful with his personal life. He rarely exposes his emotions so openly, preferring to keep a tough exterior in public. But in that moment, his vulnerability shone through. His voice carried a weight of longing, his words hinted at unfinished business, and his eyes seemed to hold a secret that only one woman could truly understand. That woman, of course, is Demet. And now, the question burns brighter than ever before. Is Can Yaman's heart still Demet's forever? Or is this just the echo of a love that never had the chance to reach its true ending? The aftermath of Can Yaman's confession was nothing short of explosive. Within hours, entertainment outlets across Turkey, Italy, and Spain plastered his words across headlines. Italian tabloids, which have followed his every move since his rise in Europe, called it the confession that broke the silence. Turkish media framed it as a dramatic twist in one of the most talked about relationships of the last decade. Spanish outlets, always captivated by Turkish dramas, described it as a declaration of eternal love hidden between the lines. The reaction was global, and it was overwhelming. But perhaps the most fascinating part of this confession is how it fits into the larger narrative of Can's life. Here is a man who has built his career on discipline, hard work, and an almost unshakable public image. Known for his intense fitness routines, his Hollywood-level preparation for roles, and his charismatic presence, Can has always been the type to control his story. He chooses his words carefully, avoids unnecessary scandals, and rarely allows his emotions to dictate his public persona. And yet, when asked about the one thing he couldn't control, his heart, his guard dropped. Fans who have followed Can and Demet's journey from the beginning immediately began revisiting old interviews, searching for clues that may have foreshadowed this moment. They remembered the way Can once said, "Demet is not just a colleague. She is someone who will always have a special place in my life." They recalled how Demet, in her own interviews, struggled to hide her emotions whenever his name came up. She admitted once that she avoids watching Erkenci Kuş reruns because the emotions were too real. For fans, these fragments are not coincidences, they are pieces of a puzzle that point to a love story that never truly ended. The confession also reignited the what-if conversations. What if they had stayed together? What if the pressures of fame, constant rumors, and the weight of their careers hadn't pushed them apart? Could they have built a life together beyond the cameras and the stage lights? These questions are now on the lips of millions, and every fan seems to have their own theory. Some believe fate will eventually bring them back together. Others think the moment has passed, and Can's words were more about longing than about future possibility. What cannot be denied is the emotional force behind his statement. Even critics who usually dismiss celebrity confessions as publicity stunts agreed that there was something different this time. Can's tone wasn't rehearsed. His body language betrayed his emotions, his eyes lowered, his voice softened, and his pauses carried more weight than his words. It wasn't a performance. It was a glimpse into the heart of a man who is everything yet still longs for the one thing he cannot fully hold on to. For Demet, the spotlight has returned as well. Fans are waiting for her reaction, scouring her social media posts for hidden meanings. A simple smile, a caption, or even a song lyric shared on her Instagram could set off a storm of speculation. She may remain silent, as she often does when it comes to personal matters, but silence itself could be interpreted as an answer. After all, when two souls share a history as powerful as theirs, words aren't always necessary. If there is one thing the world has learned about Yaman and Demet Özdemir, it is that their story is far more than just a piece of television history. Their connection was so authentic, so magnetic, that it blurred the lines between fiction and reality. And now, with Can's shocking confession, that blurred line has become sharper than ever, reminding everyone that sometimes the most unforgettable love stories are written off-screen. Fans who followed them during the golden era of Erkenci Kuş know this better than anyone. They remember the stolen glances behind the cameras, the laughter between takes, and the way their chemistry seemed to flow effortlessly, without the need for scripts. Many crew members from the series have even hinted in past interviews that working with Can and Demet felt like watching two real lovers rather than professional actors. It wasn't acting, one former assistant director once said. It was something deeper, something you couldn't fake. Those memories have now resurfaced stronger than ever. And yet, despite the undeniable bond, life has a way of pulling people apart. Careers demanded sacrifices. Can pursued opportunities in Italy, where he quickly became a household name and a symbol of Turkish charisma abroad. Demet, on the other hand, established herself as one of Turkey's most versatile actresses, moving seamlessly from romantic comedies to emotional dramas. Both thrived individually, but in doing so, they drifted further away from each other. The world watched as their lives unfolded separately, but fans never stopped hoping. That hope is precisely why Can's recent confession hit like a thunderbolt. It wasn't just words, it was validation. It was proof that the feelings everyone suspected were real. For many fans, it felt like a small victory after years of speculation, a moment that confirmed what their hearts had always believed, that Can's heart, in one way or another, still belonged to Demet. But what does this mean for the present? That is the burning question haunting both media and fans. Some believe his words could signal the beginning of reconciliation, a subtle invitation for Demet to step back into his life. Others, more cautious, interpret the confession as nothing more than a nostalgic reflection, a recognition that the past was beautiful but cannot be relived. The ambiguity is what makes the situation so compelling, and so painful. In the midst of this storm, Demet remains silent. Her decision not to comment immediately has only fueled speculation. Social media detectives analyze every move she makes, from the songs she listens to on Spotify to the photos she posts late at night. Some insist she must be processing her own emotions after hearing Can's words. Others argue she is choosing dignity and privacy, refusing to allow her personal life to be consumed once again by the endless cycle of public scrutiny. What makes the silence even more dramatic is the history of their interactions. Whenever Can and Demet have crossed paths in the past, the tension has been undeniable. From red carpet encounters to award ceremonies, their body language always seemed to tell a story that their words refused to reveal. A glance here, a nervous laugh there, it was enough to send fans into a frenzy. If that was the case years ago, imagine the reaction if they were to meet now, after such a heartfelt confession. At the end of the day, Can's words have reopened not just a chapter, but an entire book that the world thought had been closed. And whether this story ends in reunion or remains a tale of longing, one thing is certain, their connection continues to live on, stronger than ever, in the hearts of millions. As the world processes Yaman's heartfelt confession, one thing has become crystal clear: this is not just another celebrity story. This is a narrative that has transcended borders, languages, and cultures. It is the story of two people whose love, whether real, imagined, or somewhere in between, captured the collective imagination of millions. And now, that story has been given new life. For Can, the confession may have been a release, a way of unburdening himself from years of silence. But it also came with consequences. Industry insiders suggest that producers and directors are already considering new projects that could reunite him with Demet on screen. Streaming platforms are said to be monitoring the fan reaction closely, seeing the confession as an opportunity to reignite the phenomenon of Erkenci Kuss on a global scale. Imagine, after all these years, a new series bringing them together again, this time with the weight of their real history behind every scene. The thought alone has sent fans into a frenzy. But beyond the world of television and fame lies the personal question that matters most: what does Demet feel? She has not spoken, at least not directly. Yet silence can sometimes say more than words. Her fans point out that she has recently chosen roles that revolve around themes of lost love, heartbreak, and destiny. Could it be a coincidence, or is her art reflecting the very emotions she has struggled to put into words? Meanwhile, Can continues to live under the spotlight, admired in Italy, celebrated in Turkey, and followed everywhere he goes. But for all his success, the image of a man still haunted by one great love lingers. His confession did not sound like a publicity stunt. It sounded like a cry from the heart, a whisper of vulnerability from someone who has everything, yet longs for something money and fame cannot provide. The world now stands divided. Some fans are convinced that this is the beginning of a new chapter, that Can and Demet will eventually find their way back to one another. They point to destiny, to the unbreakable chemistry, to the rare kind of love that defies time. Others, more skeptical, believe his confession was simply an acknowledgement of a past too powerful to ignore but impossible to repeat. Both perspectives carry truth, and both keep the story alive. What cannot be denied, however, is the emotional power of his words. By admitting that his heart might still belong to Demet, Yaman reminded the world of something universal: that true love, once found, is never truly lost. It leaves a mark, a scar, a memory that endures even when life takes people in different directions. That is why his confession resonated so deeply, not just with fans of the couple, but with anyone who has ever loved and lost. And so, the question remains, hanging in the air like a promise unfinished: is Demet still the love of his life? The answer may never be spoken directly, but perhaps it doesn't need to be. Perhaps the truth lies in the silence, in the glances, in the lingering bond that neither time nor distance has managed to erase. For now, fans continue to dream, to hope, and to believe. Because sometimes, the most powerful love stories are the ones that remain unresolved, forever suspended between what was, what is, and what could still be. And as long as Yaman's heart carries Demet's name, their story will never truly end.